What's going on, Master Duel fans? James Polk here. Yeah, it's been a full year and some change of Master Duel, of course. And for today's special video is going to be the history of Master Duel in terms of what decks have I played from start to finish. But before we even get things started, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if you haven't already, hit that notification bell to keep yourself constantly updated about this. And now let's just jump over to the deck section as we start from scratch, and then we'll just work our way up. So, first deck to talk about is Charmers. And just so everyone knows in advance, at the time recording that this new list happened and in effect with some of the changes, let us not count what's differed from the previous season lists, starting from scratch or starting from the beginning as we led all the way up to the finish line. So, first things first, Charmers, as you see, Charmers was the very first deck of choice by far, because I had a history of Charmers way back when, as of the Lost Millennium, as well as Elemental Energy, as well as the support after support after support until they finally got a structure deck. So, Charmers, they are a series of many variant attributes, but all of them are spellcasters. The mission of the deck focuses on 1850 attack, 15 defense. And in order to keep the combo plays going, you have multiple attributes of wind, water, earth, and fire animals to help you extend so that you can make up whether if it's a link to exceed combo plays and so on. Now, if you noticed about the extra deck usage, obviously, if you haven't saw the video where I had to dismantle certain cards because of the ban list, I'll be sure to leave it in the link down below so that you guys can see it. So, this Ready Fusion used to be Instant Fusion, and the Instant Fusion targets at that time period were Thousand Eyes Restrict and Mud Dragon of the Swamp. Thousand Eyes Restrict was mainly because it is a spellcaster, which help you special summon any of the 4 animals without wasting your normal summon, which is absolutely crazy. And now, with Ready Fusion as a card, the only target you have in your extra deck is Musician King. What's even more crazy about Musician King is that he is a spellcaster 1500 defense. So such cards as Unpossessed in terms of spellcaster 15 defense, but obviously that works with Charmers, but at the same time, not Unpossessed. So sorry, it's been quite a long day. Cards such as Possessed Partnerships actually can help you special summon out the Musician King, because he's a spellcaster 15 defense, and as a light monster, if you see any of the attributes that isn't lights in terms of the main deck FP monsters, not counting Lina, your destruction effect goes off guaranteed. Same goes for negating the first monster effect. It doesn't care where, because Musician King, Spellcaster, 15 defense. And this deck is all about 1850 attack. So cards such as Awakening Spell gives you a free draw card. Same goes for Fairy Tale Tales, about no battle damage involved. Your key card is Spirit Charmers. If you see this card resolved throughout the course of the game, you are in a very good spot. And then the extra deck, it used to be 15. 2 of the fusions got separated themselves because Mud Dragon is a super poly target now, while Thousand Eyes Restrict was dismantled because Instant Fusion's gone. So Ready Fusion with Musician King gets things going. And then the rest of the extra deck, because it's only 14. So you got Chidori, Downer, Drill Driver, Artemis, 6, Glossy, Charmer Links, Basic, Celine, who is also 1850 attack, Synergy with the Fairy Tale Tales and Awakening Spell, Access Code, you got too many attributes, and then Underworld Goddess, just for a surprise factor. Artistic Angels. The weather is one of those 2 presets of Artistic Angels. Mission of the weather focuses on the weather monsters themselves, as well as their canvases that are in the same column or the ones in the adjacent, aka next to, just so that they gain effects. Snow is the card you want to see the most, because this whole deck gets around Ash, Secret Village, and Anti-Spell, which is bananas. And then your canvas cards such as Snow and Forecast, you rather see those at all times, just so you can facilitate the back row and control the game. And when it comes to not seeing Snow all game long, Pure Ray map gets things going. Obviously, it has no attack, so searches use Snow with ease. And then the combination of the weather cards will be the likes of Thunder as well as Cloud. Thunder can replace a continuous spell trap, most likely a weather card, to place it with something else. It can include copies, but the thing is, according to the canvases, you can only control one of that card's name at a time. So you happen to place a different weather card with something else, and then Cloud's effect is, if another face of weather card gets sent to the graveyard, this lets you place back up to 2 from grave to the back row. Sun is your recursion, so Sun can also be a combination with Cloud as well. Sun, toss out a continuous spell trap you control, most likely a weather card, to free special him and place a different weather card. It can be copies, but you rather place with something different. So Sun and Cloud works. Thunder and Cloud can also work, but Thunder and Cloud works 75% of the time, 80% of the time. But the realest combinations of all cards that clutch you games is Forecast and Cloud paired up together. So Forecast simply says if you were to put up a link summon involving the Weather Link monster, you can use your back row as if they are monsters, and then Cloud can place back up to 2. So if you have Cloud and Forecast together, you're just essentially link summoning for 3 with just 1 card. For free if you use Sun. And then this deck has it all itself. Search, Spell Trap Compulse, Shrink with direct attacks, E-Teles, and compulses monster without target or destroy. And of course, the power source of all floodgates to protect your back row is Aurora. Aurora is literally Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight of the Weather archetype, as in your opponent cannot target or destroy the weather special traps with a card effects. And to avoid the Dark Samorg anti-spell shenanigans, same with Denko anti-spell, Rain can actually help you place, not setting, but place. So that gets around the Dark Samorg anti-spell or even Denko Sekka anti-spell shenanigans. And of course, this deck tends to banish a whole lot. So cards such as Dimension Shifter gets things going. And this deck can also avoid Skill Drain and Anti-Spell. Skill Drain, you're banishing for cost, and then Anti-Spell, we do not ever activate spells, not counting Tactics, Map, and Call By, but placing is to get around it, as well as activating Forecast. But you rather see this first before getting your floodgate set off. And then extra deck, aside from the Charmer links, of course, multiple attributes for one. You have Phoenix, Geonator, because Snow is the weakest, so you rather creature swap with something strong. And especially the fact that if you want your Snow back, Thunder Canvas can help you kick it back to the hand, which is insanely good. 2 RCOs. Gotta love the glossy RCO. Double Moonbows. And the rest remains the same in terms of extra decks. Artistic Angels Part 2, Sulfur Chords. Sulfur Chords are a series of pendulum monsters whose gimmick effect relies on the level and scale. Lower the scale, higher the level. While the lower the level, higher the scale. Gimmick of the deck is you rather see Elegance, which is the card you want to see the most, so that you can use your second effect right away, which is to complete the scale of 2 Sulfur Chords, 1 odd, 1 even, by sending 1 Sulfur Chord from hand to extra deck face up. So this gets around Ash easily a whole lot, 100%. And on top of that, the second effect of Elegance is basically guaranteed Pendulum Summon. So I believe the scales 1, 2, 3, and 4, scales 1 through 4 simply says your opponent cannot activate spell traps or monster effects when your Sulfur Chord Pendulum monsters is Pendulum Summon. To get around that thing, the effect of spell traps can respond. Not the activation of the card, but the effect of the spell traps can get around it. Otherwise, 99.99% of the time, you're going off scot-free once they do something upon Pendulum Summon. And then scales 5, 6, 7, and 8 simply says Pendulum Summon of Sulfur Chords cannot be negated. So if you have a scale 1 where your opponent cannot activate anything except the effects of spell traps, as well as a scale 8, where Pendulum Summon of Soulful Chords can't be negated, you are basically going off scot-free 99/100% of the time. They can't ask you, ogre you, or any hand trap. They can't even use counter traps either, because the Pendulum Summons cannot be negated, which is insane. This deck can function as attack strength based on the scale, extenders, and saving grace of card effects, saving grace of battles, as well as tossing one from main deck to extra, so it's Electromite of the archetype. No battle damage at all, and she can compose spell traps. Gracia searches you spell traps. Angelia, on resolution, she tributes to E-Telly Soulful Chords based on the scale difference of too high or too low. And if you have these two together on the field with an even scale and an odd scale, all of your Soulful Chord Pendulum monsters are basically ancient gears. Butia, she simply says, on anyone's turn, as long as you have a even scale, she can target any face-up card your opponent controls. You can completely catch your opponent off guard by whenever that card ends up leaving the field, it actually ends up banished instead of hitting the graveyard or wherever else. So she's a pseudo cosmic cyclone of sorts. And then she is also El Shaddai construct in terms of battling it out within equal or higher attack than the lowest scale. So most cases, if you have a scale range of 1 through 8, 9 are from the field spell, she lets you get over most things. And then the boss, Kulia, she can negate up to 2 cards, as well as acting as Draco Berserker of the Tenyi in terms of destruction, as long as you have a scale range of 1 and 8, which is you want to see at all times. And then your other Soulful Chord cards, they have scale fixtures, extensions, board wiping. Scale effects are protected by 1 card effect, not everything else. Again, 1 card effect. Extender / spot removal. And of course, their field spell lets you either recur from extra deck to hand, make that scale always become 9, and on top of that, does not target destroy a card as long as you have 3 different odd or even scales. And then your extra deck, Ignister, because it's pendulums. Baron is added because we have plenty of 3s and at least 1, 2 level 7. So Baron access. You also have Masquerina, Abomination, Avermax, Beyond the Pendulum, and no archetype is completed with not 1 but 2 Royal Rare Grand Soulful Chord Musea. Musea is your power source of the archetype because first chance you Pendulum Summon Soulful Chord, she lets you grab a Soulful Chord based off from the scale and level to the hand just to match it up. And on top of that, the reason why I said Musea is the power source of the archetype, she lets you trade scales in terms of 1 odd, 1 even from hand to extra deck and vice versa. And of course, Beyond the Pendulum has arrived, makes it so that you are able to get your pendulum summon going in case if you do not complete your full scale. So the context is elegance to grab a scale from deck and place it, and find a way to make beyond to get the other scale, so that in case if you have too many monsters, your line should be elegance to complete one, make way for beyond the pendulum to get the other scale, just so that you get a free pendulum summon. Otherwise, usually you rather use the effect of elegance of the secondary of it. And with that being said, this is the Artistic Angel selection. Singular Strike Overthrow, courtesy of Sky Striker and Mathmex. But truth be told, picking Sky Striker only because major experience with the deck. Sky Striker is a series of Link 1 monsters, mostly, with the exception of Zeke being a Link 2, and in the near future, Azalea comes out as a Sky Striker Link 2. But for now, let's stick to the Master Duel Shenanigans. And of course, series of Link 1s, multiple attributes, and with the third Kagari installed now, this makes it so that I am able to play the TCG version of the deck. Cause I've been playing this version of the OCG for quite a while now, until they gave us the third Kagari back. Anyways, mission of the deck focuses on you gotta have no monsters in your main monster zone in order for you to do something. This deck is basically pot of greed, spot removal in terms of cards, gain you benefit of draw cards as well as attacking twice, no direct attacks, pot of duality in terms of excavation, and in case if you never saw Ray or Rose all game long, multi-row can help you get rid of the area 0 so that Ray can be summoned out. Same with burners, jamming waves, tops. I believe burners? Yeah, spell trap anywhere on the field. So also base also recurs from graveyard to deck, extra deck for links. But at the same time, now that we got the Kagari 2-3, I think it's never wholly necessary to have Hercules base anymore, to tell you the truth, because now that we got the third Kagari back, we just constantly keep getting cards back from grave to hand, which is ridiculousness. And then Ray and Rose are lights and darks, of course, and the special summon effects of Sky Strikers, they are once per turns, of course. And then Kagari buffs up herself, while Shizuku debuffs all of your opponent's monsters. And in any grind game state, Hayate can bypass abilities that prevents monsters to attack others, while Kana can block an attack, which is insane. And because we play the OTK version like Phantom Sky Blaster, this can generate you an OTK combo with the help of the 2 Link Spiders, any other Link 2s with the likes of Phoenix and Zeke, Flame Administrator, and Decode. End board is Decode, pointing to any leftover Sky Striker Link, and Flame Administrator. It buffs up all your links by 800 simple, so Decode will be 41 at the most, Flame Administrator 2000, and then any of your leftovers Sky Strikers, these, they usually end up at 23, and then Kagari is more than 23, depends on how many spells you have in your grave. And of course, in any spam type of matchups, Bomber Dragon can help you explode the main monster zone, because in some matches where if they trigger Scapegoat, which is at 3 by the way, you could just chain Hornet Drones or Shark Cannon to revive something, special it out to where Bomber Dragon points to or any Link monster points to while Bomber Dragon is there, just to explode the main monster zone, meaning no Link spam shenanigans. And of course, this deck I play is super heavy hand traps. And your extra deck, 2 Spider, Triple Kagari, Triple Shizuku, Hayate Kana, Flame Administrator, we already got the Phoenix covered, Zeke, Decode, and Bomber Dragon. Warriors Unite. Courtesy of Amazonis and Warrocks. Chose Amazonis because way back when, since Magician's Force, played the deck for quite some time, and all I can say is the deck originally lacking in too many combo pieces, the way of how I want this deck to operate, but with the support we have now, all from Darkwing Blast, this makes it so that this deck can play multiple variations of however I want this to be. This version of the deck I have, as you see on the screen, this is the pre-Darkwing Blast version. Goal of the deck is that going first, you usually land on Beast, Hot Red, or IP with Isolde, just so that you're able to quick link into either Avermax or Abomination with the effect destruction. And then for the polymerization, that is for the Amazonis package. This lets you make Empress guaranteed so that your onslaughts are protected by card effects, as well as every other Amazonis monster you control. The Synchro package of the Fire Ants, as well as the Supei packages, these can literally lead you to either Bark, Moon Dragon, Sun Dragon, Draco Berserker, or Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. It is because any of these two, as well as Fire Ant and Supei, so it's either of those two, Supei and Fire Ant, just so that you're able to land on Hot Red Abyss. And for Ready Fusion targets, we have Carbonella Warrior. I could also do Fusionist as well, because Fusionist is a Earth Beast. So that would be the likes of Mrs. Radiant for the sake of Carbonella Warrior. And then Fusionist is a Earth as well, so it could be that as well. And then Drumadol, this is the best Link 2 ever printed, because this is your Scrap Dragon of Spell Traps. You can just pop one of your own deck cards and pop one of your opponents, so that way you can just pop Onslaught to revive any of your Amazonis monsters, including the Empress, in a late grind game state, so that you should be able to capitalize on your offenses. And it is a Beast Warrior as well, so aside from the benefit boost, Drumadol also lets you get back another copy, as well as Beast, Fusionist, Baby Tiger as well, because he's a beast. And during the Anti-Spell Festival, when I played Amazonis, I also had DD Crows, because DD Crow is a wing beast and Drumadol gets it back. For your spells and traps usages, as well as every other monster, you have the Stratos of the deck in terms of spell traps, spot removal spell traps, and you also have your extender, Searcher of Cards that isn't call, does not target, does not destroy, banish with a free special, and you also have Reborn literally any Amazonas. And then for your equips, because of Isolde, gains you life, spot removal a set card, pushing forward for damage. This can also out the Babushka because if it's in defense, and if you see this card in your hand, you can just equip it to Babushka, forcing it to attack position, just so you can able to get your on summon effects off. And then Living Fossil, it is your extender. And then for every other starter slash extender cards, you have this starter, and then your extender packages, synchro packages, and then the Hornet Drones. This is your real starter in terms of the warrior version because you gotta have no monsters. This is your starter because you gotta have no effect monsters. And then this is your other starter as well because you gotta have no monsters in your graveyard. So sure, Petting Sensor, Adhara, and Hornet Drones can conflict, but at the same time, if you perform your special summon maneuvers the correct way, you should be in a pretty good spot. So Hornet Drones, no monsters in your main monster zones, followed by Adhara because you have no effect monsters, and then followed by Petting Sensor because you have no monsters in your graveyard. So if you see any of the three combinations of cards, Hornet Drones first, Adhara Tenyi second, Petting Sensor third. Otherwise, you're going banana split. And I would like to finish off the first half of the history of Master Duel would be Exo Sisters. Exo Sisters is a series of light spellcasters who are all about graveyard manipulation, turning them into Zodiac XZ of Exo Sisters with the basic four: Ellis, Sophia, Elaine, and Stella. Martha can be your own cards with the likes of Dee Dee Crow as an example. Now, Exo Sisters can also help you regain your life points back as long as you have the other sister matching the names off from the text. Ellis with Stella, Sophia with Irene aka Elaine. The deck facilitates draw cards, free special summon of a sister, free special or free extender, and again, life point gain when it comes to matching the names, extension of Martha only if you have no monsters or only XZ in your extra. Most cases, we have plenty XZ or mostly XZ, but with a few links, that's okay. And then this deck also has calling a name so that the card gets negated, Stratos of every Exo Sister card that is in packs, tells you 2 Exo Sister names, aka Rescue Rabbit, based on the name matching, and banishing as well. This version has no D shifter, because it's never wholly that necessary, because I don't want to waste my sister cards in terms of detaching to the banish pile all from shifter. But otherwise, we already got the banish covered. And then extra deck, or whoops, almost forgot. This deck can also Zodiac XZ on your opponent's turn, unless if for some reason they have a monster in their grave. And then the extra deck, the Return of Donner Magician, as well as Lina Link, Celine, and Abomination. Drill Driver with the return as well. And then for the sisters, Michaelis, aka Spot Removal, Stratos of Spells and Traps, Stratos of Monsters, Anti-Reborn of Caspatel, Jabrine, aka a Fed Veiler, and All XZ gain an 800 boost. And then Asofiel, the Exo Sisters Abyss Dweller, as well as compulsory one monster your opponent controls. And with that being said, this is the first half of the history of Master Duel. If you enjoyed it already, once again, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if you haven't already, hit the notification bell to keep yourself constantly at it and keep yourself updated. And of course, can't end the video without their Exo Sister boss, Magnifica, attacking twice, as well as the Banisher herself. Does not target, of course. Alright, you guys. Catch you guys in part 2 of the history of the path of Master Duel.